Hi, hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Blunt Views podcast where we say things that we were never meant to say out loud. So grab your pen, your notebook, your water, and let us lock in. Self-awareness is lonely and they don't talk about it. So today, we're talking about it. Okay, so self-awareness is lonely. Why? Because when multiple people benefit from a dysfunctional pattern, then the one who calls it out becomes the problem because they are bringing inconvenience. So, you as the person who is self-aware and the person who calls out dysfunction gets to be named as the problem because these people they don't want to fix their issues. So you get to be the problem because you're easier to eliminate than looking in the mirror and actually dealing with the issue at hand. Okay? So, what is self-awareness? Self-awareness is the ability to observe yourself honestly in real time without lying, defending, or dissociating. It is when you can say, I am triggered, and I am triggered because this is my history with this trigger. Or this pattern keeps showing up and I play a part in this pattern. Okay? That is self-awareness. Self-awareness is not when you say that these are my flaws and I know my flaws. No, that is self-discrimination, which is not nice. So, yeah, um, self-awareness is seeing yourself from both an actor's perspective as well as an outsider's perspective. So, like as an outsider, you can look back and be like, that was not okay. This is what was happening from my point of view. This is what I saw happening. And then from the actor's perspective is where you look at the situation and you're like, this is what I am actually doing. This is what is happening. This is what is going on. That is self-awareness. Why is self-awareness lonely? Self-awareness is lonely because you start noticing patterns instead of incidents. You see, when you're not self-aware, things are just random. This happened, it is what it is. Hiyo siku alikuwa tu na siku mbaya, they were just having a bad day. That is why they reacted the way they did. But then when you're self-aware, you start to zoom things out and you realize, you know what, this is not new. This has happened before. I have seen this before. This is the same situation, dressed in a different outfit. And when you call that out, you cause the person who is doing it discomfort because people like to sit in their comfortability. They don't like to face discomfort. And when you call them out, you're giving them discomfort and they don't like that. So they take it out on you, and that is lonely. Another reason why self-awareness is lonely is because you hear what people mean, not just what they say. You hear silence as avoidance. You hear jokes as deflection. You hear kindness as control. When someone says, I didn't really mean it that way, the impact tells a different story and you see that and you point it out. Okay? And when you respond to the meaning instead of the script that was written, it comes as a shock to people because, this is not how it's supposed to go. You're supposed to ignore it. And then we're supposed to move on and pretend it never happened, pretend you were never affected. Pretend I never did what I did. But when you call it out, when you sound it, it comes as a shock because now you're not going along with the script that this person thought you were going along with. Yeah, and you were saying something that this person hoped you would ignore, but now you're not ignoring it. And it's like a panic to them. You cause, again, discomfort. Discomfort that this person is not ready to deal with. So instead of dealing with it, they take it out on you. And they're like, no, I did not do that. You're overreacting. You're overthinking. You are blowing things out of proportion, And that feels lonely because you feel misunderstood, you feel unheard, you feel ignored, and that is sad, lonely. Another reason why self-awareness is lonely is because you feel discomfort before things blow up, okay? And you see, we've said that you notice patterns, right? So before things actually it happens, you've seen the signs that will lead to this happening because, again, this is not a new situation. This has happened before. So you know how it ended up last time. And you know that this is how it started for it to end up that way. So you know where this is going. And you feel the energy change. You feel the shift in moods. You feel the tension. And you voice it out because, you know, you're supposed to. And when you do, people are like, no, you're being dramatic, you're being this, that, and the other. You're not right, you're not okay, stop overreacting, you know? And later, when things do happen the way you quote unquote predicted it will, people are like, you know, it is what it is, but then you're not like it is what it is because you knew this would happen. You tried to say that this would happen. No one was listening. So now, at the time, they took you as judgmental instead of perceptive. And now, when your perception comes to pass, everyone is like, meh, you know, whatever happened, happened. And like, you feel lonely. You feel lonely because this could have been prevented. When you said it earlier, they could have listened and this could not have happened. But now it has, and then you are the problem. Now, you're in existence because, you know, it has happened. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, it is sad and lonely. Self-awareness is lonely because when you are self-aware and when you're constantly pointing things out, you stop being a person to people. You become a mirror. In you, they see their inconsistencies, they see their trauma, their unresolved issues, the thing that they need to work on. They see that in you. They see the person they actually are, not the person that they think they are, right? And that is uncomfortable for them. So instead of saying that I do not like what I see, they say I do not like you. Because breaking the mirror feels easier than fixing the reflection, you know, because I can just say you're the problem and then I won't have to work on myself, because if I say that indeed this reflection is not who I thought I was, I will need to work on myself. I'll need to ask myself why. I'll need to ask myself what is going on. Why am I doing this? Why is this a habit I constantly do? What do I need to do to stop doing this habit? And the shadow work is difficult. So instead of having to do that, it is easier to just say, you know what, you're the problem. I don't like you. You are like this and that and the other. You overreact. You're dramatic. You're this. And like, yeah, that ends up making you feel lonely because sometimes you feel like you're losing your sanity because everyone is saying that I am the problem, then maybe I am the problem, you know? And it is sad for you because actually you're not the problem. Yes, you do have your flaws. That is not something you're supposed to be denying. But you're pointing out other people's flaws and now they don't like it. Okay? So, like, you feel sad that this is something that you have to constantly deal with, not because you're the issue, but because they are and they don't want to fix the issue. So it becomes lonely for you because it is better to just be isolated than to have to constantly deal with this because it is draining, it is exhausting, you know? So you choose to be alone, not because you can't, but because dealing with it is just too much. When you become a mirror, people don't just see their behavior, right? We've established that they see the gap between who they thought they were and who they actually are, right? So instead of having to deal with that, they opt to attack your character. They opt to go, you know what, you're acting like an angel. You know what, you're acting like you're perfect. You know what, you are wrong too. You have your wrongs too. So stop acting like you never do anything wrong. And it's like, true, I have not said that I don't do anything wrong. I am pointing out what you're doing, you know? And now it becomes a battle about morality when it never was. It was you pointing out an issue, and now it is like you are not pointing out an issue. You are playing the self-righteous card. When in reality, you are not. Because one thing about self-aware people, they know their flaws. Before anyone else mentions it, they know that they have these flaws. They are aware that, you know what, this and this and this and this is my weakness. This is where I go wrong. This is where I do wrong, yada, yada, yada. So they are aware. So it is kind of ironic for someone else to be like, you know what, you're acting self-righteous, because I am in fact not, you know? And they fail to understand that you're not claiming perfection, you are claiming accountability. And for someone who avoids responsibility, anyone who takes responsibility appears self-righteous, okay? And so when you say that this hurt me, this keeps happening, this is not okay, they don't hear that. What they hear is, you are imperfect, you are the devil, you are this and this and this. I am perfect. I know that you should not be doing this. Everybody knows, so you are wrong, you know? And that is not what is happening. What is happening is you are giving feedback, you are demanding accountability. You are demanding responsibility for their actions. You are not saying that you lack actions that you deserve to take accountability for. You get? So yeah, so that is sad. It is lonely because you're not asking for this person to go away. Neither are you asking for this person to become a different person. You're calling out behavior that did not sit right with you, right? And like, when they constantly, you know, throw shade at you for doing this, you feel so lonely, because now you feel like you don't fit into this environment. The jokes are no longer funny, because these are jokes about your body, and they're just not funny. They stopped being funny ages ago, when you had to deal with your self-esteem and to build your body confidence and to boost your confidence, to feel bold being in your skin, you know? Now the jokes about your body are no longer funny. So when people make them, you don't laugh. You just fail to fit into the dysfunctions, the misalignments, and it becomes lonely, okay? And self-awareness separates you from the collective agreements to lie, because once you see clearly, you can't participate in the same illusions anymore. And most human connection is built on shared illusion. So when you stop agreeing to the lie, you stop belonging to the group, and that is lonely. So we have come to the end of our episode, where we were talking about self-awareness and how lonely it gets. Because when you're starting your journey to self-awareness, they never tell you that it gets lonelier by the minute. Like, the more you move, the lonelier it gets. So I was here to tell you why it gets lonely, and that it does actually get lonely. So prepare to be very lonely. And it is only momentary, because later you're going to find yourself associating with people who are just as self-aware, who are just as mindful, and it will become less lonely then. But initially, the journey is going to be lonely. So I end my episode. I will see you guys in the next episode. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Bye. I love you.